I'm not going to make any secret about it. I'll be signing it. And Harris, this is about protecting children. Now, remember this, and that is a person under the age of 18, they don't have the mental capacity to make a life-changing decision to lose their sex organs. In the state of Texas, if you're under the age of 18, you can't get a tattoo, you can't buy cigarettes, and so many other things, but people think that they should be able to make a decision to permanently alter their sex organs. That's just outrageous. In Texas, we believe that cutting off a child's sex organs is child abuse, and it's going to be treated that way by law.
The bill is Texas Senate Bill 14, and it bans healthcare professionals from doing the following. It bans them from providing gender transitioning treatment, which they state is sterilization or puberty suppressing drugs to children. Although who would you give puberty suppressing drugs to other than children? I can't even begin to fathom what the answer to that question could possibly be. But let's get into some more details about this heinous bill. From the Washington Post, Texas's Senate Bill 14 threatens to take away the licenses of violating healthcare providers, but has some exceptions. Children who are already receiving treatment for gender transition or dysphoria may continue to receive care, but those children must, quote, wean off any drugs they are taking, and they will not be legally able to begin a new course of treatment. So continuing to receive care for those children is only temporary. But under the bill, the banned procedures for the purposes of gender reassignment are mastectomies, which is the removal of breast tissue, surgeries that would sterilize the child, and drugs that, quote, induce transient or permanent infertility. Now, physicians who actually know what the hell they're talking about have repeatedly objected to legislation impeding access to gender affirming care. But of course, Governor Greg Abbott does not care about that. He doesn't care about the facts, and he sure as hell doesn't care about protecting the children. And when he signs this bill, he will make Texas the most populous state to ban gender affirming care for minors. At least 18 states have banned gender affirming medication or surgical care. And here is a map from April that shows the states and states with potential bans. So you can see Texas would now be gray, but the states in gray have totally or partially blocked, or in the states in purple have possible bans. This is a civil rights issue. That's what's happening here. These states are not, they don't care about protecting kids. And I'll bring you in here first, Dan, but I'll go into more detail about how explicitly they don't care about protecting children. But they're going against medical best practices in their pursuit to supposedly protect the children, while doctors, healthcare providers are screaming at the top of their lungs that this will only do the opposite. This won't protect kids, it will kill kids, and they don't care. Dan?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what you're gonna say to like break down exactly how they don't care about kids. And I often kind of worry about what point there is to pointing out Republican hypocrisy at any point, but here goes anyways. I remember 10 years ago when the message for America not having a public option to a single payer healthcare system at all was the idea is, I don't want politicians and bureaucrats getting in the way of decisions I'm making with my doctor. 10 years later, these politicians and bureaucrats are getting in the way of decisions that are, it's not a 17-year-old going, hey, I want a tattoo that my parents will let me get. It's not a 16-year-old going, hey, I want this type of surgery, whatever. No, it's a regimen that doctors and parents and the people involved are doing together over multiple years. And like we're saying, if you really cared about kids, then you wouldn't be getting in the way of their doctors and the care they're being prescribed to, or trying to say, hey, you know those drugs that have like actually given you the ability to align with your gender and how you feel? Yeah, get off of those if you want to live in the state of Texas and not uproot your life, and make your life worse so that when you are of age to maybe become a parent in the state of Texas that apparently cares about kids, you have a harder time doing that because you're having a hard time even taking care of yourself. It's ridiculous, this idea of bodily autonomy or keep the government out of healthcare because they want to dictate people's lives all the time.
Exactly. I'm glad to see some states standing up for trans rights and becoming, safe states, like refuge states for trans rights that will protect, trans children and have committed to not extraditing families to be investigated in states, banning gender affirming surgery. Of course, alongside that, we're going to need robust, nonprofit work or through the states funds to move these people, because moving is an arduous process financially. It's very taxing emotionally. If you don't have a job ready in that new state, it could be an impossibility. So as long as these states are continuing to ban gender affirming care, we really need to come together, to provide an exit route for the families to be safe in other states while we're fighting those through the courts and, through activist moves.